Okay, so now to cover the crypto world, I'll still start with the SPY, move to the Nasdaq before going to Bitcoin. So I thought we would bounce after the Thursday close. Indeed, we did. We started the day quite well. So the open for the SPY was at 400, but we didn't venture too far north before just dropping for the rest of the day and closing pretty badly. And by that, I mean below Thursday's open. So you don't need to overthink it. That's what the candles are for. You can tell that it's a pretty bearish candle. It's not a fully engulfing candle where it completely, closes below the whole low of day yesterday, but pretty bearish. Not the best signal for a bounce into next week. Now, Monday is Labor Day, so US markets are closed. I expect light trading volume, although Europe and Asia should be open. And normally, I always see Bitcoin, especially now with the markets just really volatile the whole of this year. I see Bitcoin waiting for the US markets to open before doing a significant move. So even this weekend, I don't expect anything very dramatic, but it can still happen. But so Monday, I expect I expect the European markets to drift lower. I've covered that in one of my previous videos. And then I do think Tuesday everything will get a bit more dramatic. So I think we'll start testing lows and going to the next floor lower. So that's with the DAX, that's with the US markets. So a bit of sideways action, and it doesn't have to be Wednesday, but next week I just expect us to not bounce much and basically lose our ascending support and go lower. The Nasdaq is a bit weaker. It's already lost its ascending support. So, but the equivalent happened on Friday. So bearish engulfing, almost engulfing. So I just expect a bit of a move sideways and then lower. We'll look at the DAX very quickly. That had a very nice close because that was before the US markets really tumbled. So it sort of closed as everything looked good. I think we'll open on Monday a bit lower, maybe drift sideways and venture towards that all-important triple, quadruple flush of ascending support. Doesn't get more bearish than that if we drift lower to the 12,600, 500 zone. So once we lose 12,400, I think we go to 11,500 in the DAX. Doesn't seem too relevant to crypto, but it is, because if Europe or the German stock market loses 12,400, which can happen early next week, I think, then the US markets, the SPY, the NASDAQ in particular influences Bitcoin. The equivalent for NASDAQ, I think, would just be to sideways and then move lower to 280 on the QQQ. So what would that mean for Bitcoin? And in fact, Bitcoin, I noticed was bucking the trend a bit. So as those markets were drifting lower towards their ascending support, whether it's the SPY, the NASDAQ, the DAX, whatever, Bitcoin, okay, it already had a drop. This is after Jackson Hole. It kind of held quite well, the 20,000 range or just below. And I thought that we would take this out because I assumed we would bounce, which we did technically on Friday or Thursday, Friday. I thought we would at least go to 21,000, maybe even 21,800. And then I thought we'd go back down a bit. But I was expecting at least a bit more of a bounce than what we got. I mean, what did we get? We got 1-2%. I was expecting something like 8%. So now that everything starts to look bearish again, and indeed Bitcoin also, and this is the Friday candle here, the 2nd of September, it also had a bearish close. I mean, not as bad maybe, but not great, especially if you consider it broke out of that downtrend. So pretty disappointing. Just zoom out on the 15 minutes. This is what I was talking about. I was expecting at least take out 20,500, run towards 21,000, maybe 21,800, meet resistance there. Instead, it went down with the market. So the DAX, the German market, closed sort of here-ish when everything looked good, and then US markets tumbled. And that's why Bitcoin followed through. And obviously Bitcoin is 24/7. So what's it done since the US markets close, well, it's just sort of drifted lower. And I think it will continue to drift lower. Monday, US markets aren't open, so it'll probably just, I don't think it will, we could flush 19,500 on Monday. We could even do it tomorrow on Sunday, but it's bearish. Whether it happens on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, I think it will happen. And I think we'll just, I mean, this is lower highs again, already disappointing breakout, failed breakout. All the markets look bearish. Bitcoin generally looks bearish. The sentiment isn't great, and I think a real washout is needed. So I think we take out 19,500. Then what happens? Then we move to 19. Well, obviously 19,000 very quickly, but probably 18,750. Have a small bounce. Maybe the next day we go lower. But basically, very quickly, we're going to be testing the lows, 17,600 or whatever it was. And well, we'll see. We could have a cascade lower when crypto gets volatile and lots of volume comes in and then panic comes in. It's you have a few stops that get triggered, and then the rest is just high frequency algorithms and just stop losses. All that stuff just kicks in. You never know. And to be honest, this could probably start affecting the Nasdaq, which takes the S&P lower. It all feeds on each other. So I mean, you could have the DAX that starts it. The DAX starts it. Bitcoin continues it, and the Nasdaq finishes it. Let's see. Meanwhile, you got to pay attention to the dollar and interest rates and all that. It could be an orderly decline. It could be a disorderly decline. But I do think overall, we test the lows, we breach, and we go to 13,000. Not in one go. I mean, a lot of things will be happening here if we start taking out 17,000. We could have some pit stops on the way. 14,000. I don't know. Let's see. It could happen quickly though. But what do I think is going to happen? I think we're going to go lower. I don't know when. I don't know if it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but I think by Wednesday we'll be below 19,000. That's for sure. Let's see. Ethereum, that's obviously been stronger than Bitcoin. So what would the equivalent be? Well, if it's testing 19,000 or 18,750, we'll probably be down here, 1,400. And if we're testing 17,600 the lows, I think by then Ethereum will be down at 1,000. I think we'll start seeing these other coins, Ethereum, Litecoin, Monero, Ripple, etc., all the other altcoins starting to go down more than Bitcoin, because typically Bitcoin would be the safe haven amongst cryptos. So that's when Bitcoin dominance will probably bounce, and you can see it's at sort of support around 40%. So whether it goes a little lower, I think we'll have a bounce in the Bitcoin dominance chart as everything flushes. And this is a breakout zone to look out for here on Bitcoin dominance. I want to stick to crypto, but the dollar is worth mentioning. So the DXY had a very nice close at its weekly, and this is a long-term weekly resistance. So, and you can see all the way over here, we've got a nice other resistance point. So once we close up above 110, we could start moving up, and this would coincide very well with a market flush across all sectors, commodities, indices, crypto, whatever you want to call it. The usual suspects will go up. So volatility, dollar, interest, bonds, and everything else goes down. Although bonds are a bit special. Maybe bonds go down too with interest rates going up. It's sort of like a push and pull. As the markets go down, people pour into treasuries, into bonds as they get scared, which forces yields lower. But actually, the theme has been yields going up. So, and it's been the first time in a long time, or maybe even ever, where this crash has seen stocks and bonds go down. So all those 60-40 portfolios have been obliterated, but I think everyone's been obliterated to some extent, unless you've been short or just in cash or in volatility. So surviving is already quite good, but making some money is even better. So to avoid further losses, maybe pay attention to that if you're in crypto. That's the dollar. Interest rates, well, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but still moving up. 2-year, 10-year, 30-year. That's the long-term picture. If we just do the 1 hour chart, nothing too special on Friday, but moving up. The 2-year did come down a bit. What I'll do is I'll move to the crypto miners because that I actually own HIVE, but I sold most of it all the way up here. So I have a very small position. I really want to add more. HIVE's been quite good actually, all things considered, but I think HIVE will come down, obviously, with the market, with the crypto sphere, and ultimately test its lows, $3. I'll probably buy some, but I'm hoping for it to go even lower. That's how you build a position. That's how I build a position anyway. I just sort of enter in stages. I mean, it's sort of this psychological invincibility where I'm happy to lose money initially because I want to build a position. So it's a sort of a psychological hedge, if you will. But I've got a very small position, and even at $3, I'll be adding, maybe 1/6 of what I want. So, but I've made a lot of money in HIVE in the past, so got a good history. I know the stock quite well. I like the CEO. But anyway, if Bitcoin goes all the way down to 13,000, I think that would coincide with, well, if the market goes down to, you could really see HIVE obliterated. I think it can weather the storm long term. I like its sort of balance sheet. So it's a sound company. I wouldn't want to get into something too risky, and it's had a split since, but I remember this was sort of 10-cent range. I don't think it belongs down here, but we'll see. Maybe $1, $2. Just keep adding, and then when it curls, when I think crypto is over with its flush, the markets have stopped going down, I would really go in pretty heavy in HIVE. But I'd like to add others because something I've done recently is spread my risk more amongst sectors. Because no matter how much you trust the stock, you just shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. You never know. You never know, and I've been burnt a few times in companies I never thought would see bad news or anything like that, and it's just wise. So I would probably add a bit of Mara, RIOT maybe. I don't know them too well, but I know their chart patterns, and as long as they don't go bankrupt, I think for a bounce in the whole crypto world, you could make a lot of money. I mean, a lot of people are going to make a lot of money when Bitcoin stops going down. So whether you're just in Bitcoin, Ethereum, any of those other coins, I think a lot of them are going to get wiped out. I think a lot of them need to get wiped out. But the ones that survive, once it starts to curl and move up, crypto miners or crypto coins, it's just they're going to make 50% moves a day. So it wouldn't matter too much as long as you survive the worst of it. So what do I think is going to happen? I think they'll all come back down to their lows as we test 17,500. And once you have a flush, I will really be paying attention to this more than any other asset because I think crypto may have been destroyed more than any other asset, and it will just rise more than any other asset when the dust settles. So I'm not going to go too much into the technicals of these miners because they all have the same chart pattern. They'll all reach their lows if Bitcoin goes to 17,500 and lower. And that's when we can really zoom in and pay attention to where we will buy, or where I will buy at least. And I'm intending to buy Mara, right? Maybe HUT, maybe Bitfarms. I think I'll stay away from MicroStrategy and Coinbase because I'm really going for the pure miners, but they have similar charts. And anyway, that's my analysis. Just really focusing on the miners and Bitcoin. But it would be foolish not to look at the general markets and even the DAX and the dollar. So I hope that lays out my short-term thesis. Basically, markets go lower and the risk havens go up. So dollar volatility, etc. So pay attention. I don't know what's going to happen on Sunday or Monday. Well, obviously, no one knows what's going to happen. I just don't know whether the moves are expected Sunday or Monday. I don't think Sunday there'll be any flushes. Monday, I'm not sure either. Normally I would say yes, but since the US markets are closed, I'll be paying attention to the DAX. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Disappointing Friday, Thursday and Friday for Bitcoin, and therefore I expect more downside. So good luck and thank you.